Hi and welcome to another one of my vintage HiFi videos. Today's heading is spares and repair, especially on eBay, because this is where it comes up really, to be honest with you. You may get a second-hand shop telling you what the fault is, give you an idea, but mainly on eBay. And the reason I'm kind of covering this today, you may be able to, maybe not such a bargain, but you may be able to get something a bit cheaper that's going to be an easy repair. I mean, a lot of them, can be complicated. Do beg your pardon, I've dropped a sheet of paper. Yeah, a lot of them could be complicated. Then some could be straightforward. And I don't always look out for spares repair. If I see a cheap one and buy it now, or maybe a bid up that may interest me, I'll keep an eye on it, have a look what the description is. And on this one, it did say, I put the description as it was actually advertised on the screen, though the wording isn't that great, to be honest with you, as you can see what the seller wrote. I took this as that one of the channels is working and the other one isn't, but on the headphones, both of them are working fine. And if you wanted to listen on headphones, this would be ideal, but through speakers, one channel's not working. So I thought to myself, this is a, if the headphones are working, this should be a fairly straightforward fix, because normally the output comes out the amplifier, left and right, goes to a speaker selection switch on one side, then on the other side to the headphone sockets through to resistors. So if you're getting an output on the headphone socket, there's probably just a wire come loose from the switch is not working, the speaker switch maybe not contacting properly, could be a fix, could be just a bit of detox or something, or maybe you may need a new speaker switch. Kind of around that area that would be the fault. As you can see, I'll put the diagram up on the screen now, and the output there, I've just took one channel, but obviously it'll be the same for both. The output comes out at the top there, goes through the fuse. So if you're getting the headphones working, both fuses must be okay, because it has to pass through that fuse to carry on down. If you follow the line downwards, where it's right way through output, the line continued, and it goes round to your left there, and this, when it splits into two, one goes further left to the speaker switches, and one goes to the right to the headphone sockets through them 330 ohm resistors there. So if you're getting an output on the headphone sockets, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be getting an output on the speaker sockets, unless, like I say, the switch has gone faulty, a faulty wire, maybe a bit it's come unsoldered or something. So to me that was a fairly straightforward fix, as long as the seller was describing it correctly as the headphone socket was working. Now, even though it says spares or repairs, and not that I was going to, because it's quite a cheap item, I'm actually bidding him down to £22, just a little bit, just take a little bit off. You could send it back as item not being described, because even though it says it's spares, repairs, no return, he still hasn't described it properly by saying the headphone socket working when it isn't. So technically you could send it back. Like I say, on an item like this, probably nothing to worry about. But if you was buying an expensive amp and he said this, and you paid £100 or £200 for it, and he says the headphone socket's working but the speakers ain't, then when you got it, you got it home and you actually tried it out and he was getting nothing out of the headphones, then you could tell him and say, well, that isn't working, I want to return it. And I think eBay would let you do that, no problem. Anyway, going back to this one, as you can see, there's very little wrong with it. So I thought I'd get this, as I've got the Rotel 311, I think it is, and this is the 312 amplifier, yeah, the RA 312. I thought I'd give this one a go as well, just for a matter of curiosity, being cheap as well. This is what this channel's on about, all about really, not on about, all about really, is cheap hi-fi, nothing too expensive, but still, fairly, I'm not saying this ain't top of the range vintage hi-fi by any stretch of the imagination, but still getting a good quality sound, still getting a decent sound out of the bits and pieces I buy, more for the lower end budget, where I did look recently, funny enough, in a few magazines, these magazines you get through the door, and like Argos, that kind of stuff, and other magazines I got hold of hi-fi, little systems where you've got the CD player, tuner, and the little stacks, not so much a stack, it's all in one, but it looks like a little stack, and a pair of speakers, and I was quite surprised, £300 and £400 for these items, where you could quite easily knock up a really cheap system. Like I'm almost certain you could knock up one for £100 or just over, and probably get a better sound, I would have thought, and for £300 without a doubt. So yeah, this is all about really the bottom end of the retro hi-fi kind of market, I think, really. And like I say, I'm going to sting a few little tips, this being one of them, that maybe saying you probably come across this, and a lot of people already know about this, but it's still going to be one or two of you out there that didn't realise that some of these spares or repairs could be quite a simple fault rather than anything too complicated. So anyway, I got this home, well, got it delivered, shall I say. Tried it out, plugged it in, got a source, and the first thing I tried was the speakers. I plugged the speakers in, and lo and behold, they both worked. So I thought, well, that's strange. He said one of the speakers don't work. So I thought there must be an intermittent fault or something like that. I always use me little speakers. I've got a little pair of Gal speakers, cost me a £5. I never use anything bigger than that, just in case something's wrong with one of the outputs and it blows the speaker. I'm kind of like not going to be too worried about a £5 pair of speakers. So I used those, and they worked fine, which I was quite surprised. So I mucked about the knobs, gives them a little backwards and forwards and whatever, and a little tap, thinking that maybe a loose connection, sometimes pick it up and just slightly turn the knob, where it says speakers set A to B, going in between, and you can kind of catch it sometimes, thinking that could be a fault there. No, that seemed fine. Went round the back and started just tapping the switch a little bit, no problem at all. So I left it on for a few hours, nothing, no problem at all. So now I'm thinking, why has he put this down as a spares repair? Must be something somewhere that only one channel's working when he tried it. Yeah, I've got it and both channels are working. Now, this could be a number of things. One thing, it could be some like a loose wire somewhere, a circuit board, got a crack in it somewhere or something. So I thought, well, that'd be my next thing, a close inspection of the item. So undone it, looked at the circuit board, seemed fine, checked the wiring, that seemed fine. So still a bit stumbled, obviously it still could be an intermittence fault somewhere. But then I went to try my bigger speakers, and this is where it struck me what this bloke must have done who was selling it. It seems quite an easy mistake. Now, the amplifier before, and I can't remember the model number, but it had exactly the same setup with the speakers as this. And this was exactly the same, a spares repair, only one channel worked through headphones. So this is why this has happened twice to me now, and this is why I wanted to put it up on the channel. It's just something that could be pretty common with people not not so much savvy with this, but not much of an idea how the speakers connect, that could be making the same fault, and you could pick up a little bargain maybe. But also look out for other spares repair items, like I say, read the description and try and figure out, look at the circuit diagram, see if you can figure out what maybe could be like a simple fault to get the item going. But anyway, back to this one. Got myself a little cake turntable here, which I'm going to get a bit of use out of, I think, spinning a few amplifiers around. If we spin this one round, it's probably really going to become apparent to you straight away as well, as it did to me after hooking up the speakers for the second time, where the mistake was made. This is speaker 1 here on the switch, and it's the top two and the bottom two, left and right. So the top one is the left and the bottom one is the right. If you go over to the other side, this is speaker set 2, left and right. Now what I think this bloke's done is looked over or looked at the back quickly and plugged one set of speakers in here, thinking this was the left channel, then come over here and plugged the top at the top again, thinking this was the right channel, left and right. But the trouble is, they're on different circuits. They're set A speakers or set 1 speakers. This is set 2 or set B speakers. So no matter where he had the speaker switch, he'd only get sound coming out of one and not the other. Rather than connecting them here and down there, he's connecting them across. And even if he did it the other way, so I think what his fault is that this is left and right, and this is sets 2 down the bottom, left and right. So that's where I think he's made the mistake, because I've had this amp on there for a while now, quite a while, backwards and forwards. I've tapped it, I've done numerous things, I just cannot get it to play on one speaker. So, and that was exactly the same with the other amp I bought as well. So I think that's the mistake he's made there, is by not connecting the speakers up correctly. Even though if he'd moved the switch along to there, you have speakers 1 and 2, so both of them would have played. Now, and also it's got a 4 channel as well. So I've taken it that he's only ever tried set 1. thinking he's connected up to one, and maybe only got one channel come out. Because if you would have went to set 2, the other speaker, he would have had, like, say the left was only working, he would have had the right would have kicked in on the other channel. So fairly straightforward, just turned it on and all he heard was one channel. And of course went to check the headphones and they worked perfectly. Just like I say, just a little tip I wanted to give, maybe to look out for these spares or repairs. You're not going to get stuck with it because you could resell on anyway, again, as long as you buy the right price at the bottom end price. And in fact, you could be lucky to buy it at the bottom end price, and it's one that's, you know, a few people have had recently. You've had a little muck about with it for a month or so, can't get it going, you go to put it back on eBay and they've crept back up in price. Someone's willing to pay you at least what you paid for it, or another £10 or £20 on top as well. So this one here, I'm going to give it a little run through a sound test and whatever when I get a proper chance, and I will give a review on this and the 311 I've got as well, and a few other bits and pieces. Obviously I'm trying to squeeze it all in, but things are coming in quicker that I can actually do the reviews on, which is a bit annoying. So I'm going to have to calm down a bit, get the reviews. I can't keep every item, so I'm going to have to resell some of them because it's just no room. I'm really stuck for room now, and I've still got parcels arriving because I don't know, I don't know if it's an addiction, but it's quite good getting something else new in, listening to the sound and see how it differs from the one you've had before, another item, and even how some are quite similar to another. Now, I've got a few more videos I want to try and get out as quick as possible. The review of the Ditton 15 speakers is one I want to get out as soon as possible. A review of that Pioneer SX300 receiver I got recently that I've done a sound test with. I want to give a little review on that. And also I've managed to put 5 amps, or mainly they're actually 5 receivers I think, that have all got something very, very similar in common to each other. So I want to get that video up as well, even though they're I think 3 or 4 different makes there. Yeah, 3 makes up, I'm not too sure. Anyway, and one of them's quite a bit more recent than the other as well. But they've all kind of got something very similar to each other. I want to put up as well, may find interesting. Anyway, that's it for the time being. I hope you found that one interesting. Look out for spares repairs, just something else to think about when you're collecting, and obviously you're paying a lot less, or half price. I mean, this was £22. I think it goes, I'll probably get about 50, 60, 70 pounds, somewhere around there, once I've cleaned it up and whatever. So yeah, you can maybe make a little bit of profit as well if you're, you know, if you want to do that and sell on. Then all these profits add up, so you can buy a nice bigger item and maybe think, well, you've kind of got the make you're after, you know, the sound like Sansui, Pioneer, Marantz, JVC, well, whatever, Rotel, you kind of got an idea of their sound, and that's the sound for you. Then buy a bigger unit from that company and finally settle down on the one you want, if you're kind of like swapping about like I am. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.